Welcome to the Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast with global sales trainer and professional speaker, Lois Kofi. Each week, it is her goal to share inspiration and education for you to be, do, have the best health and wealth and wisdom for your life.
Well, all right. Happy Friday, everyone. It's Coach Lois, your podcast host of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. We're rounding the corner, getting closer and closer to 200 episodes, and I'm so excited to have my friend Brian here today. Before I introduce him, I just want to remind you guys, if you're hearing this in iTunes or YouTube later, please come inside and join us inside of this community where we stream live every week. Just go to Facebook and look for Healthy and Wealthy and Wise podcast community. And you can also see, drop here in the show notes, healthyandwealthyandwise.com is where you'll see all of our future guests as well as past guests. And this show is designed to help you live your best life, your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. It was produced and started during the pandemic to help you to be, do, and have the best results you can possibly have in your business and in life. I want to give a shout out to Sean Waite. Thanks for tuning in live all the way from Hastings, Minnesota. If Sean just modeled exactly what I was going to say. If you're tuning in live, comment below and hashtag live. If you're tuning in on the replay, hashtag replay. And of course, if you see value in this show, please hit the share button or copy and paste and send it out, because every guest I choose or select, because not everyone just gets on my show. Okay. I want to bring people who have incredible value. And then later in the second half of the show, you can ask questions of our amazing guests. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Brian Baird, who's on the East Coast. I'm over here on the West Coast. He's a hypnotherapist. And the cool thing that I just learned about him today is he's 49 years an entrepreneur. He started his first business when he was 12. And he has a mechanism in helping professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs to change their relationship with money. And of course, that impacts every area of our life. Right, Brian? I'd love to hear more about you and your story.
Oh, really? How much time do we have? My story starts with coming from a place of not having a lot. Family was not an enriched family. So at the age of 12, I had an eye on a 10-speed bicycle, and not a regular $100 one. I had rich taste for some reason. And there was a French-made, a Motorbacon. It's actually Canadian-made or Toronto-made or Quebec-made. But I had an eye on something called a Motorbacon. I don't even know if they're still around these days. And so I started a lawn cutting business. And then over the years, I did all kinds of other businesses. And I've only had a couple of stints in the corporate world. Not that I haven't had any, just not many, just a few. So in the process, I'm kind of a street trained. I'm a computer scientist by training, engineering minor and math minor in college. And frankly, I've used very little of that because I've always had a bend for what does it take to change people's lives. So whether it was helping people with their lawn or later on in life, helping people with, growing their business. And for lack of a better description, I've been a business coach almost all my life because I always help people figure out how they're going to do their business work. So, and several years ago, I decided that as I was going through my own personal development and my own personal transformations, of which we all do we hopefully do as we age, I discovered hypnotherapy and also another modality called a couple of other modalities, but another one called neurolinguistic programming. And they were so effective in supporting my journey that I actually went and got trained by some world-class people who, the person that I most spent my time with was somebody who had 40 years and as a PhD in hypnotherapy. Wow. So, and I haven't looked back because in the course of adding that to my repertoire, it's made me a better coach in terms of helping people, because so much of our transformations in our business, when our relationship with money adjustments that we need to make, they start with ourselves. Money issues rarely are just a product of hard work and good luck. There's a lot to how we have to show up, and that's where I spend my energy.
I love that. I love that you said you finished that with spend your money is a form of energy, right? So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If money is just simply energy, like, I turned that light bulb on so you could see me better, right? Just flip of a switch. Why is it so flippin' hard for people when, especially if they're maybe programmed in scarcity, they're stuck in, I don't have enough money, maybe I'm not enough, all of those thoughts. They don't, I see on the screen there, it says flip the script, so how can they flip this faster when it money?
Well, the beautiful part about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and hypnosis is that they are rapid and permanent mechanisms for releasing those stories in our lives that no longer work for us. Now, we've all been imprinted in some way or another along the way, whether it's parents, most commonly parents, by the way, but it could be grandparents, it could be sometimes it could be even, there's some very strong scientific evidence, it could be genetic memory, that we could be carrying the energy of that we're born with. They've shown that people who are children of the Armenian and the Holocaust from World War II, those two Holocausts, they show that the children that came out of those things actually had some of the same health and mental health issues that were of their parents, even though some of them never even knew their parents. Because of genetic factors. Descendants of slave, wherever in the world there was slavery, of course, the United States, we know of our own history. Descendants of slavery also would carry around some of the impact of that slavery genetically, and so on. And then there's sociological or what they call generational memory. So you can actually be carrying memory from just somebody who had a traumatic experience in their lives, and they have children, and they somehow or other and put that story forward into their own children, perhaps at a genetic level to a degree, but very often just carrying the energy of who they are as parents gets transferred to the child or children. So it's not about finding blame for why somebody's got a story that's not working for them, but why not find, now that we know what the story is that's not working for you, let's release that story. And let's reveal your authentic story. So the idea here is that we all are born with a pristine, pure side to who we are, the person that we're supposed to be. And it's the stories of all these other things that kind of trounce that, kind of put the kibosh on our ability to be completely authentic. And there are times, teenage rebellion, that's an attempt for us to go find ourselves, or or we have traumatic relationship that we went through, maybe we're divorced or whatever the case may be. And as long as we're learning from that makes it so that we can release more stories and move into a more seriously positive version of who we are, and that's authentic. So
that's so cool.
That flip the script, own your story, change the world is really all about releasing those stories that no longer are yours, owning your story, the one that you already were born with or conceived with. And then once you have that under your belt, you can change the world. And that includes money. It includes that energy of money thing. And so very often the issues with our relationship with money have everything to do with the fact that there are stories. How often have you heard this phrase? The root of all evil is money.
Yeah, the love of money. Yeah.
That's a story. Now, in the Bible, there's a phrase, the love of money is the root of all evil. And I won't disagree with that per se. So like if our whole charge in the world is to go out and make money, we're missing all the other opportunities. And so my contention is if people want a healthy relationship with money, we just have to help them have a healthy relationship with the world and themselves. And the money will follow.
I love that. And a lot of people, if you guys have been following me, I've been, and you and I talked about this before we got on the show, about it's been such a year of self-care for so many. After the pandemic, people started looking more into their health. I know I reconnected to spirituality and was exhausted of I was just talking about this with a client. A lot of times we feel this emptiness because we don't understand ourselves. We don't understand these emotions that we're feeling. So we just numb them or stuff them down, and we get busy, right? We work too much. That was one of my numbing mechanisms. So maybe if you can talk about that, because there's like this belief that I was raised with, or at least that was my perception, that you had to work hard to pay your bills and you couldn't talk about money. And it was a bad thing to do that. You had to be humble and, you know, all of those programs, right? That I think, at least I'm 44. So I don't know if anybody else, comment below if you can identify with that. But it wasn't until I started caring for myself for real and sitting with those emotions and releasing them through other modalities and self-care that I really finally, it was starting to make money. Like really it just started coming in. Like, and now I get paid something every day or almost every week, and sometimes almost every day. And it's just kind of like, oh, thank you, universe. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody who's listening, or most people who are listening, have heard that phrase, work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have this historic contention or idea that, you know, in order for us to make money, we need to work hard. Sometimes it means 2-3 jobs or whatever the case may be. And that robs us of our ability to put detail and attention into ourselves, and possibly and likely even family and other relationships that are going on in our universe. So, the idea is who's the one who says that working smarter is better than working harder, but then doesn't tell us what smart looks like. So to your point, like the journeys that you and I have been through in our lives, is like, we've developed mechanisms for being smarter about how we use our time, instead of just kind of bullheading our way through the process to try to get more money. The latter approach, just going after money alone, actually, I think typically exposes you to robbing you of your health. And because, in fact, I have a little fun exercise. I've done this many times when I'm on stage, but we could do it right here if you want.
Sure.
A miniature version. Take your hands and put them up to the side. So your left hand is love and everything you want and everything you deserve, and abundance and quality relationships, which are also part of abundance, and money and bank account and all those things. The right hand side is everything that's lack, fear, things you don't want, like bills or being broke or whatever the case may be. Now, Lois, you just for practice here, if you could look at your right hand, which is your lack hand, can you see your left hand?
No.
So where we put our focus makes a big difference in what we are going to experience. Because if we're focusing on love and deserve and want and abundance and all those other things that are over there, it gives us an opportunity to start to create the vision of what that looks like. And those are the kinds of things that can help us release those stories like, I will never have enough, I've got bills to worry about. Look, the bills will always be there. The question is whether you will have the abundance to manage the bills, or whether you're going to spend all your day struggling over them. So I like and this is just a visual of how to make sure that we put our focus on the right things. And so that's why I say release the stories. And stories are traumas. We have if we're afraid of something, or if we've been injured by something and that creates a phobia or a fear that's behind it, or we suddenly have beliefs that aren't getting us where we want to be, like that idea of the love of money, or love money is the root of all evil. That's not really the issue. It's that we have a lopsided relationship with everything. And so money becomes what we measure things by, when in fact money should be the byproduct. So if we're living a quality life, you will have a quality relationship with money. I'm certain of that. All of my clients are certain of that when they go through that experience. So what we really want to do is give people the opportunity to release those stories that are holding them accountable to their right hand lack experience, and letting them start to be understanding that the true version of who they are is this left hand love and abundance and quality and deserving and fulfillment type of experience. I wonder if that's a clear enough explanation or not. So
I think it is. I love what you had me do it. And so what you focus on expands and when you're coming from a place of fear or lack, you just can't see the forest for the trees. So
it's a special kind of stuck, right? When you're in that fear state, it's a special kind of stuck. And so you really that's where coaches come in.
I want to give a quick shout out to a couple of our guests that joined us since we started. Tony from the UK/Ireland. I wish you could hear his accent right now. I love the Irish accent. Just spoke with him yesterday. Thanks, Tony, for showing up. And then Sherry Hughes-Smith from Northern California. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And this is your time, guys. We're heading into the second half of the show. Please comment below with questions. Take this opportunity to essentially get some free insights, some free coaching from our guest. Do you have any other stories or mechanisms that you would like to share? Because it's a great follow-up to our guest from last week. Last week we talked about manifestation and spirituality. Mm-hmm. And it always seems like, money is the first thing that people struggle with, probably because of that. I'm just going to say it. You and I have talked about this openly. Some of those really bad stories that we were taught as kids, whether it was through religion or the ancestral DNA traumas, the scarcity. The scarcity is like, there's time scarcity. I hear this a lot. People say, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. Mm-hmm. So that is also a part of lack. What are your thoughts around that?
Oh, no, I think you hit it right on the head. There's, we have I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't know how to do this. I'll never be able to do this, whatever this is, whether they're developing something which is going to give them a pathway to finding more about themselves. Sometimes starting a business, even when you don't know what you're doing, when you have the right coaching, you learn so much just growing into the business that you actually do the kind of work that frees you up from those stories that shouldn't be in your life at all. Good coaching like yours will take care of that. So the idea here is finding those people who are just in enough state of awareness where they can go like, I'm willing to learn from what others have done before. Because I'm confident based on my own journey that you can learn a lot without a coach. Mm-hmm. Because for decades, I didn't trust anybody enough to let them be my mentor. But a few years ago, maybe more than a few at this point, but somebody had said this phrase, and it's a phrase I'd heard many times, but it finally sunk in. It's that a smart person learns from their mistakes. A wise person learns from the mistakes of others.
I think you have to say that again. Can you say that one more time? Slower. Sure. Write this down, guys. This is a golden nugget.
So first of all, learn from my mistake, which is I did not have a coach or a mentor for decades in my life. And I could have learned so much more earlier. And the phrase that really lit me up and allowed me to very rapid, accelerated transformation at a time when I needed it, by the way. And I was, in the conventional sense, I was always very successful. Plenty of money, plenty of, cars, house, whatever. Never happy. So money does not get you happiness. Money is a side effect of happiness. So our goal here is to get you to be wise about how you learn things by not spending decades learning something. So here's the phrase: smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. That's why people need coaches. Coaches need coaches. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs a coach. In my experience, my estimation, my opinion, everybody needs a coach.
Well, and the cool thing is they become our mirrors. I can relate to you so much, Brian, and I think I shared this with you before. Mm-hmm. I went probably about 13 years without spending money for a coach. I had a therapist for a while, but then I just kind of went off wandering in the desert, if you will. And I had mentors. But what happened, and I'd love your thoughts on this, is I attracted mentors, not bad people. Okay. I just want to clarify that weren't in alignment with my core values. Cause I think I was coming from a place of fear, trauma at the time. And so you want to also not only find a coach and a mentor, but you want to find the right one. And it's kind of like you attract these people. I've heard people who said they got married and divorced 4 times and they married the same person every time. Right.
Yep. Patterns of those stories.
So. Yeah. So at that time I had a very intense story apparently. And that's when I really got into workaholicism and all of the things that were not congruent with my true highest and best self. So how does one find the right coach as well? And I just want to give a shout out to Sean. He made a good point. Not only you got to be coachable, committed, but willing to change when you work with a coach.
Let me add something to what Sean just said. You also need to be aware. So many of us are in that reactive, stuck state that we just know nothing. We can't see the forest from the trees. So it's usually at some place along the way, we hit a speed bump or a brick wall, and we go like, I can't keep doing this. What I need to change this. I need to do something different. And in that moment, you have an opportunity to be aware there's something beyond your current circumstances. And there always will be something beyond your current setting. You know, there's always room for us to mature and grow and transform into something. So it's essentially the way I look at it is it's just further revelation of our authentic story. There's always a little bit of a cloud on that. And probably till the day we leave our human form, we're always going to be learning. I don't see why we wouldn't be. In that process, though, is that awareness is the first mechanism, the door opening to all those things that was just mentioned.
I was going to say, because I love acronyms. So Sean gave us 3 C's: coachable, committed, and I guess willing to change, but conscious, aware.
Conscious, yeah.
Also,
so that's that a 4th one. Coachable,
yeah.
committed, changeable, since we can keep it shorter, and conscientious or conscious.
Conscious, yeah. Yeah, because that's what I didn't realize too, is when I had mentors and I was going through the motions, I wasn't really conscious in asking myself reflection. Right. I think that I'd love for you to talk about that, because that's something that I did a lot more in 2020 because I had the time. Right. I stopped working nights and weekends. I got rid of that story, that I had to work, be busy. Right. And it gave me time to reflect on my daily production and my ideal customer, and the pricing of my programs was really low. And I just had the time to just pivot and go, wait a minute, I do need a coach. Let me go find the best coach that has had the results that I want. And so I had to be willing to do that. And I couldn't have done that had I not slowed down enough to become conscious and aware of what it is that I even really truly needed.
Right.
So I don't know if there's anything else you can add.
Well, I would like to add some perspective on this idea if we're talking about searching for a coach to serve your needs. We have, I don't want to mention any names per se, but there are some very notable big names in the space of being coaches, and they have built what I often call the money machine. So to have right now the name of one of these leaders, if you want one-to-one time with that particular coach, you make $250,000 investment, and then you have people you've trained that whoever you're aware is that those coaches have trained, and you get $50,000 audiences with them, and $25,000 with the one underneath them, and so on and so on, and you just and they have become these machines, and it has become so much about the money, and I find it so disappointing, even though deep down inside, they all came from those humbler roots that we're talking about right here. So I have this, I'm going to make this as a declaration, is that, look, you can go through that pipeline and make it all about the money and some of the development you will do along the way. But I would find somebody who is more in the middle of the road, where their focus is more on your results than on how much money you're putting in their pocket. So I'm not saying coaches don't deserve to get paid. That's not what I'm saying at all. In fact, I believe when we talked about the energy of money, when we as coaches are offering really strong support for our clients, money is the energy exchange that's there at the time, because although there are mirror type things we all learn from our clients along the way, there's no argument that I guess sometimes I go, oh crap, what did I just say? Let me write that down, because it was downloaded through me and it was brilliant. And I learned something in that moment by working with the client. But the most important thing here is that money is what allows us to sustain our practice and supporting our clients and things like that. And so there is an energy exchange here where the energy of our love and our support for our clients and the payment that comes back for the time being is the mechanism for that transference of energy in the other direction. So, excuse me. So with all of that being said, to find a coach, I would say, look for somebody who is not, there are a million coaches out there.
Oh my gosh.
Many of them
Millions.
can't get out of their own way. Their whole lives are, you know, and they're smart. Don't get me wrong. Find somebody who's a little bit further along the way, but don't go all the way to the top of the stack. Don't look for those big names. In my opinion, the big names have made it too much about money, and your life should be about abundance of love and quality relationships and kindness, and money is as something that follows suit, not as the reason.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I know for me, I slowed down and even allowed my income to go down because I wanted to reflect on my clients' results, and it allowed me to change my program. And I launched a new program this month that's even, so much better, and allowing even those clients who wanted to say, grandfather, come on in, and you don't have to pay what everybody else has to pay, because I recognize it's more about their results and their transformation than it is about the money. So I am so with you on that. And what do they say? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I think if you're consciously ready and looking for what you want and asking it out of the universe, it'll show up.
Yeah. And so many people, maybe even people who are able to hear this conversation, I would recommend that when you're asking for that coach, that you ask for money to be the byproduct of your effort, not the first reason. I know that we all have concerns at times in our lives about bills or whatever else. It's just that if you're only thinking about money, you're going to get money-only coaches. And then suddenly you're back to where you started, and you probably will have spent money on no results.
100%. I mean, I've evolved in the last year. I mean, that's why my new coaching program is called Healthy and Wealthy and Wise. Right. I don't want you to just come in and build an email list and make all this money. It's also, how can we do this in a balanced, transformative, healthy way?
Right. Yeah, technically what we need to do is drip love in all directions.
Oh, I think that's the title of our podcast. I might just have to put that on that.
Okay, go
Drip
for it.
Love.
Drip love in all directions, because we need to take care of ourselves, but we can't do that at the expense of being involved with others. We can't be solely supporting others without having a good relationship with ourselves.
100%.
And so the whole idea behind the work that we do as coaches, right, is to embrace the whole, the entire being, and their entire relationship structure is dependent on their ability to look not just at themselves or not just at others, but to be kind of an all direction thing. So.
I love it. Well, before I go through some quick announcements and get to our final question, where can people find you, Brian? How can people connect if they want to reach out to you?
I ask you to remember three things: $1 million feeling, and emphasis on feeling. The $1million-feeling.com is how people can reach out to me. They can find out, they can listen to, I just last Saturday finished my last of 2.5 years of radio show broadcasts, which you were on. You were on one of those shows. And I'll be switching over to vodcast or video log or vlog or whatever you want to call it over the next few weeks. But $1million-feeling.com has all my contact information. It's talking about my upcoming book. It's got the radio shows on there and a host of other things that, so come on in, say hi, just be part of the community. People don't have to write a check to be part of $1 Million Feeling. Just come on in, tell us who you are. We'll get you going and get you finding out more. So
awesome. Well, I have one more. Hold tight. I got one more question. But I want to invite you guys. You guys have heard me talk about this new Healthy and Wealthy and Wise coaching program with my new business partner, who was our last podcast. It actually just released today in iTunes and YouTube, talking about the mindset of pricing your offer right and charging what you are worth and believing that you are worthy of that. kind of goes along great with what we talked about today as well. And we're doing a 2 half-day event for big reasons. The first day, we're going to be breaking down your offer, your pricing, your mindset. We're going to start talking about your sales and marketing plan and your first quarter of 2022. Then we're going to give you the rest of the day, just kind of process, reflect, dive in, do some homework, come back the next day for another 3 hours. So it's 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., Wednesday and Thursday, November 17th and 18th. So just under 2 weeks away. We already have 100 people signed up because everyone wants to get 2022 in the books before you start the new year, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So please sign up. I'll put the link in the comments and the show notes. We want to help you soar into 2022, and SOAR is an acronym. You'll have to go to the landing page to find out what the heck that means. So,
well, what I love about your program, by the way, is that instead of waiting until 2022 to get your button gear, get started now so that you're actually moving into 2022 already in momentum.
Yeah. What gets written down gets done, and focus is so key. So thank you, Brian. And thank you again for being on our show today. Again, if you guys saw value, please hit the share button into your community. Send it to a friend that you know may be struggling with money, maybe struggling with the concepts of how to grow themselves and know themselves so they can have that byproduct. But when you hear the phrase, Brian, healthy and wealthy and wise, what does it mean to you?
Well, it means Lois Kofi.
Well, selfishly,
because I'm so used to seeing that from you. What else could be the answer? I've been seeing it for 18 months. So I don't know how long it's been around, but that's how long I've known about it. So
I guess I'll have to change my name. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Lois, healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Well, thank you so much. Especially we've been friends. I met because of BNI and the pandemic, and just stayed in touch. And I so value you. And I know you're up to big things. So guys, please reach out to Brian and comment below again if you learned something today. What did you learn? What are you going to take into action? This isn't just another warm and fuzzy podcast episode. I always like to hear, what is this content inspiring you to change or to take action upon? So we have a doubleheader next week, again, like we did this week. I've got Ursula Menches, who's an amazing quantum leap coach. She's going to be on Wednesday. That's a special episode. And the next Friday, I have my black belt leadership guru, John Terry, next Friday. So if you want to be inspired and make quantum leaps in your business and be a black belt in your business next week, we got that double header for you. So thanks again, Brian. And until next time, everyone, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, refer a friend, and please drop me a rating or a review. If you do that, I'll reward you with a free 20-minute free coaching session on crafting your journey to your best self. Reach out to me at lois@loiskofi.com to claim your 20-minute slot. Until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.